are a Buddhist, if you are anything, any religion, if you are losing some faith, if you are in a position where you are questioning things, then you need to come down with the basics. Why did you enter? What clicked inside here that made? If you, I always tell, when couples have problems, I tell them, what was the first thing that actually made you to click? Where did you meet? What did you see the first time you saw that person? What made you fall in love with that person? Those are the important things. If you had kept that alive in here, your relationship wouldn't be in this position. The problem is people move on. They don't hold on to the basis. They don't. Yeah, they move on. I'm going to get a better job. I'm going to get more salary. I'm going to get a better person. And the moment you say I'm going to get a better person, more beautiful, more this, more money, more this, you are in a completely different sector of the whole thing. So you lose in touch with what you have in front of you. That's separation. And that's all to do with your mindset, nothing else. Yeah? You have your partner, the partner complains every one. The first few years, wasn't a problem. You're okay with it. And after 3 years, you say, no, complaining so much. No, she's doing that. No, he's doing that. Come on. Right? So it's the mindset. It comes back to the point. It's the mindset. So understanding spirituality is similar, right? You need to be able to hold on to the basis. I went to a teaching. He talked about compassion. It touched my heart. That's why. As initiation, I want this, I want that. Compassion is out of the window. Yeah? So, basis. Whatever in life, the basis are what will keep you intact. Demystifying, right? So anyway, that's a few points again. I think if you have any questions regarding any of the things that we talked about, we can have a question and answer later. Or if that question is urgent, then let me know. We can do question and answers as well while I'm talking. No problem. Like I said, feel comfortable, feel relaxed, feel happy. 2 points. Now the third point I would like to talk about is, like I said, mind is a tool. First of all, the mind is a tool that you need to take care of. Okay? A lot of people forget it. I'm strong, I'm this, I have money, I have that. Everyone in every situation, no matter how well off they are in that situation, can be mentally affected. Yeah? Rich people come to therapy. Poor people come to therapy. Famous people come to therapy. Powerful people come to therapy. And the reason behind it is because it's not about where you reach, but it's about how you take care of this. Right here, up here. If you are unable to love yourself, if you are unable to be patient with yourself, if you are unable to nurture yourself, what happens? You end up needing therapy. That's what happens. I always tell people that the mind that you have is like your own baby. Yeah? The mind that you carry around, we'll talk about that later, talking about proving that the existence of a mind. We'll talk about that as something we can demystify today maybe. But the mind that you have is like your own child. As long as you're able to nurture it in the right way, As long as you're able to guide it in the right way, it starts to work. The moment you are unable to guide it in the right way, give it enough love, give it enough patience, the minute you cut that link, what happens? The mind starts acting up. People go crazy. People jump off buildings. People jump off bridges. People shut themselves in a room not wanting to see anyone. These things happen. It's about self-esteem, right? One is pride. It goes so above everyone that everyone looks so small. You end up losing friends. You end up losing family. You end up losing the best things in your life. Yeah? Then you have a similar situation where you are losing that. The self-confidence. You're worried about what people will say. You're worried about what society will say. You're worried about how things will appear. You don't want to see anyone. You shut yourself in the room. Days in and days out. That's what happens. Yeah? You push yourself to a limit, to the point where nothing starts to make sense. And the only things making sense to you at that moment is jumping off a bridge. People go and jump off bridges. Why? Yeah? And the inability to nurture the mind. People have gone through terrible trauma. Very, 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 very extreme bad experiences. 60-70% of their body burned, but still they're surviving. Yeah? People who have broken each and every bone in their body, still they're surviving. People who had their whole family murdered, and still they're surviving. That's the strength of the mind. It's the mindset at the end of the day. Some people lose their phone and they think, I want to kill myself. Come on. Right? It's true, it's true. That's your strength of your mind, nothing else. And then another thing is expectations. We expect things from others. I want to be loved. I want to be that. I want to be this. I want to be taking. So much expectations. By the end of the day, you are not doing any of that for yourself. You're not loving yourself. You're not taking care of yourself. You're not, giving yourself the things that you need. And yourself in your mind. Expectation. Another thing that you need to really focus and understand. What does it give you? Yeah. And another thing in life, we go, pursuing those expectations of others, and we lose ourselves on the path. So again, something to think about. We always think when something bad is happening to us that we are the most, what do we say?
Victim.
Yeah, biggest victim. I'm the biggest victim. I have a headache. Oh. Why is it all happening to me? It happens. I've heard people say that. And I was a virgin, I mean. Guilty, as I say. When you're in a situation, you feel like everything has come down on top of you. But if you take a wider perspective, millions, billions, thousands of even worse situations happening around. Not just humans, but even animals. Worse, 10 times, 100 times worse than what's happening to us. So your ability to walk through something like that, where is it? Not in others, that's for sure. The minute something happens, I'm out of the door. That happens a lot, right? What do we call? deceive. Then we use the word deceived. Oh, they deceived me, he deceived me, she deceived me. The problem is within yourself. When you don't have the strength and the courage to deal with something, you get out of the door. And that's important, right? The person who's thinking about it, saying he deceived me, is in trouble, and the other person is free. Not saying you have to deceive. I'm not saying that. Okay? I'm saying it's about being able to handle this. You do what is necessary in order to bring this at peace. Stabilization. Yeah. When the sea is stable, ships go on it. Boats, ships, everyone, everything is working. The moment a tsunami comes, or big wave starts to happen, some kind of turbulence starts to happen, cyclone, that, this, what happens to the ships? They all run away. I'm not going to get stuck in that, right? So, similar thing with the mind. If you are able to keep your mind at this level, you're able to survive. Make sense? So I think these are important parts. Everyone knows that. Again, another thing about human beings, we all know these things to a certain point. We know these things. It's up here, working somewhere, in the secondary mind, in some corner. We know these things. We're not stupid. But when it comes to situations, applications, when it comes to face with things, that's when we freak out. Yeah, we don't remember things. We forget things. Yeah. What should I do? Why does that happen? Because the mind is not calm. Yeah? When it's rumbled up and down like this, nothing is working. It doesn't work. Nothing works. You want a clear blue sky, not windy, sunny, and the birds fly, the planes can fly, everything can happen. And the moment a turbulence comes, a strong wind comes, storm comes, everyone runs away. It's chaos. No one can go in that. The moment a plane tries to fly in it, it's going to get into trouble, right? Same thing with the sea. Same thing with the mind. Up here. So, using your knowledge and your experience from the past, from the present, and your goal and aims in the future, using all of this in your life. One thing, most important, being able to stabilize your mind, calm your mind down. You go, maybe some of you are soldiers, maybe, I'm not sure, just saying. You are trained to, be calm and react calm. Not just soldiers, firefighters, all of these, they are trained to react calmly in terrible situations. Why? Because the mind works best when it's calm. So similarly, you also need to train in that. Anyway, one other thing, another demystifying. So these are, I think, not just spirituality, important lessons in life, something that would help us throughout life. Now, when it comes to Buddhism, now we go into the Buddhist sector. Some people must say, finally. So anyway, when you go into the sector of Buddhism, one thing about the philosophy behind it is that you always need to check. If someone tells you, no, don't check, you need faith, you need to follow what I say, you need to know that he's wrong. Don't get mixed up in something like that. You always need to check. Nowadays, a lot of problem with guru devotion. Oh, my teacher does this. I'm practicing guru devotion, but he does this and he does that. And how am I supposed to handle it? That's because you didn't check before you entered. Yeah? So you need to check. If you are searching for a teacher, it's not just a student that has to be qualified, it's a teacher that has to be qualified also. So try to find the right teacher if you are in the search. Now the second thing is being able to analyze to a point. Like I said, in Buddhism, it's not about what people tell you, it's about what clicked for you. If compassion makes sense to you, hold on to that. Like you're holding on to dear life. Like I said, the basis. So what clicks in the first path that happens within yourself and attracts you, that's what will keep you there. That's what will build your path forward. If you are someone who has interest in compassion, you practice compassion your whole life, you will reach even faster. Whatever path of ground you are trying to achieve, you will reach faster than those ones who study everything and know everything but aren't able to apply anything. Much faster. Some people are so interested in Tantra nowadays. Now, Tantra is known as Sangdu or Sangwang or whatever you call it. Sang means secret. And everyone's like, oh, the secret, what is the secret? But you need to know the reason behind why it's called secret. It's because if you are not in the right position to handle it, it affects you. It can affect you, it will affect you. There are people in Buddhism who have practiced there, who say, I've been practicing my whole life, I've done this and that, and this 100 million per station here, 100 zillion that this there, I've done this kind of initiation, and I've done this HY, highest yoga dana, I've met this teacher, this is my guru, I've done 100 billion different things. But if you look at them, where are their mindsets? Maybe even worse than before. More pride, more arrogant, more jealous. Because instead of developing the path here, they're developing their pride and, all the destructive emotions. So Tantra, if you're not ready for it, just because someone says it's the fastest way, don't jump into it. Now, one reason I'll tell you, maybe this will convince you. One reason I tell you is because in order to actually be someone who's practicing Tantra, you need renunciation. You need bodhicitta. And you need to at least understand a sensible understanding of what the view of emptiness is. These are requirements. People never tell you, people don't tell you these things, but these are requirements. Even before you're entering, you're thinking of taking this. Look inside you, like I said, look at the ball. Is there any renunciation? Is there any compassion? Is there even a vague understanding of emptiness? If not, then no, you're not ready. Like I said, it will be faster if you focus on the basics that actually make sense to you. That path will take you way, way more further than any of those other things. Now, this is coming from my side, like I said. Every word any teacher says to you is something that you need to. Right, wrong, makes sense, doesn't make sense. It's something you need to check. So even what I'm saying here, you also need to check. Now, in order to do that, I think we can go through some debate on what renunciation is, what compassion is, what is the view of emptiness. Now, these are not just requirements in order to enter the Tantra path, but these are requirements in order to, not requirements, but I would say these are things that actually would help you make sense of, for example, past and future lives. Anyone interested in past and future lives? Yeah, these are things that will help you build up the understanding of past and future lives. Renunciation. Yeah. What is renunciation? Duje kowa je pungbo. Renounce what? Samsara. What is samsara? This world out in cars and planes and people walking and dogs and that. I'm talking about Nepal, cows on the road. I'm just kidding. So anyway, these are things that you need to make sense of in order to actually be a part of it. Nothing should be followed blindly. That's another point again. Nothing should be followed blindly. Everything, every step you take in your life has to have a sense. In order to build a mindset, you need to build a structure. If there's no understanding of something, what happens? There's no structure. There's no pillars. So even if someone gives you a structure to hold on to, you won't be able to hold on to it. That's why never follow blindly. What makes sense to you is what will be your path. And if you are following a path that doesn't make any sense to you, you will end up nowhere. That's it, right? It's like Christopher Columbus ending up at America, thinking it's India. Yeah, you don't know the path, you don't know anything, you're just walking away, you end up somewhere totally uncalculated. Well, at least he found out that it was in India. later on. But his goal was achieved until he found out it was in India, his goal was achieved. Oh, I found India. The minute he finds out, oh, this is not India, it's like, oh shit. So yeah, so a few points there.
I have a question, for example.
Okay. I have a question, or more questions. You said, what makes sense to me? This is good to follow. So then sometimes I think what makes sense to me maybe is just an old habit, also of this life and maybe from other lives. So I'm used to do it. Because I'm used to do it, I like it, but maybe they are not really good for me. So I have also to look what's really good for me. And maybe it's not this what makes sense to me. You understand what I mean? The difference maybe?
Now, making sense and being comfortable is two different things, I think. Yeah? A lot of the things that, like you said, habitually build up are things we are comfortable with. Not something that makes sense to us, but something we are comfortable with. Not everything we are comfortable with makes sense. Like if you start thinking, smoker, let's say you are a smoker, you smoke a lot. Something we are comfortable, someone is comfortable with. Morning one smoke, daytime one smoke, nighttime one smoke. That's habitual. That's something you're comfortable with. Now, if making sense is sitting down and thinking, is it really good for me? If you say yes, okay, fine. Yeah. So I think there's a difference between being comfortable and making sense. Yeah. Making sense is actually processing it logically. Yeah, finding the basis of the core value of why, how, when, for what reason. That is making sense. I think what you are talking is more comfortable. So if you want to make sense of something, it's not something that you feel, you feel at ease with. This is a problem. People don't make sense of things. They always look for something comfortable. They always look for the easy way out. Yeah? Yeah, so when you're looking for the easy way out, you're not thinking, you're not making sense. You are following your comfort level. A little bit difference. Yeah, that helps. Make sense a little bit? Yeah, okay. So I think there's a difference, I think. Yeah. Um, when you face life, when you take approach towards life, a lot of the things that you approach towards in life is sometimes mentally created. In somewhat ways, now comes the idea of emptiness. Things, the things that exist around you, the things that exist for you, and the things that exist outside of your understanding. So totally different. It can be one object, it can be one phone or one watch, whatever it is, it can be one object, but there are different perspectives. There's the existence of the watch from your perspective, there's the existence of watch from the perspective of others. There's the existence of the watch that exists from its own side, and these are all perspectives. Yeah? These are all perspectives. Your understanding of a watch is the application of understanding and experience that you have had throughout your journey with the watch. Yeah? Someone else's experience towards the watch is what they have experienced with the watch in their life. Same thing with a person. Yeah? One person is more important to me, and other person is less important to me. Why? It's because of my perspective of that person based on my relationship with that person. Now that else might be someone view of emptiness. Yeah? Emptiness, sunyata, nihilism, these are all different. You can't put them together. Now, Khansa Ranja to be Zeki Tonga, in Tibetan we say, right? Or Khansa Taji Rawanchi is Taji Rawanchi Moni to be Tonga. So there are different perspectives of emptiness in different schools. Some schools say it's the existence of a person that is void of permanent view, the view of permanence. Do you have the view of permanence? Anyone have the view of permanence? And do you make plans? Tonight I'm going for dinner. Tomorrow I'm going to meet this person. Day after tomorrow I'm going to go to this country. In 10 years I'll make $100 million. In 50 years I want retirement with a good house and my grandkids. Do you make plans? That's the view of permanence. Not saying that you are making it out of no understanding of impermanence. No, we do have understanding of impermanence. Take that view onto the object. Yeah? People who make plans to buy a new phone each year, they have maybe a little bit more sense of impermanence. Maybe. Oh yeah, my phone is getting old. I want to buy a new one next year. No, my phone is okay. It's going, no problem. Yeah? They are applying the view of permanence. So, again, our view of what is and the existence of what really is, and another's view of what it can be or what is totally different. Yeah, that happens a lot when people fall in love. First, it's just another girl, it's just another boy. Then you meet up, sweet talk, maybe he gives you a surprise or she gives you a surprise. Oh, she's nice. Now she's a little bit higher than a normal person. And then you have more experience, and then your heart sort of starts to melt. Oh, she must be a goddess. Oh, he must be a god. And it goes a little bit higher. So from no one to God level. Yeah? What is that? Your application of view. Same thing can be done with anything in your life. It's what you see and observe and apply that becomes to you. The moment you say something, oh, that person is so nice, sweet talk, that this good looking, the more reasons you're backed up, the higher that person is going to go for you. Someone might have just bumped into you. Oh, that person so bad, so this, so that. Oh, he's worse than the devil. Yeah. Now your application of all of these reasons behind it puts him in a position, right next to, the devil, whatever you want. So same thing goes to an object as well. Yeah? Your phone is more important than others. Yeah? His phone gets flung out of the window, everyone else laughs. He's not laughing. Huge difference on perspective. So from here, what you will understand is you will understand that what you want to project on an object would actually make the object appear to you in that way. Yeah, the importance that you put in it, the more important it starts to become. And it's useless, forget it. It becomes useless. There's no importance there. So again, another power that you have, projection. So now this one is in order to understand what realism is, what reality is. What is the reality of this watch? Now I'll give you a philosophical view. If this watch was as important as it is in reality, then this watch has to matter as much as it matters to me. It has to matter the same amount to all of you. Make sense? Yeah? If your phone was as important as you claim it to be, I should be as attached to it as you are towards it. Yeah? So when your phone falls out the window, I should be freaking too, like you are. That's reality. Reality has to apply to everything, not just me. If reality only applied to me, that means it only exists towards me, in my views. Now, that's a philosophical view. You can again contemplate it. Makes sense or not? And that is your power to apply on things, on everything around you. Money, business, life, that, this, whatever you want to do, it's in your hands. Yeah? The projection that you can have, you can, what do you say, your ability to project things. Now compassion, I think that's an important part. A lot of people think love is compassion. A lot of people think not pitiness. What's the nicer word for pitying? There's a nicer word for pitying. Pity is not a very nice word, is it?
Sympathy.
Sympathy, empathy. Yeah, sympathy, empathy. Some people think sympathy and empathy are compassion. Some people think just loving is compassion. Now, in Buddhist perspective, compassion is known as the supreme emotion. Now, the reason I say it is because maybe you have heard it at the course. May all sentient beings. Yeah? I think you're quite used to it by now. May all sentient beings, not just humans, dogs, cats, all insects, or everyone in this world, everyone in the other worlds, 1,000 million different worlds. May everyone and every single one of them be liberated from suffering. Try to imagine that kind of mindset. And we have problems even applying a similar mindset towards someone right next to us. Oh, she doesn't look so good. I don't know. He doesn't look so friendly. Oh, that dog is barking. I don't like it. Now try applying all sentient beings there. All sentient beings out of the window. Oh, this mosquito is trying to bite me. You hate the cockroach, you hate the bed bugs, you hate the hornets that, you hate the caterpillars in your field eating up your vegetables. Why is all Mother sudden being there? It's not something easily applied. No. It's called supreme for one reason, and because it's vast. Yeah, it's extremely vast. Root of compassion comes from small sparks of genuine, sincere, unconditional love. Yeah? Have you ever loved something? Not because of some reason behind it. Oh, he talks nice. Oh, he makes sense. Oh, that's this. Oh, because he gave me a house. Oh, no, because she did that. Because oh, because I raised it. Forget about reasons and all of that. Have you ever experienced love unconditionally, sincerely, and genuinely? There's a small spark of it. Yeah? No reason behind it. Just sincerely wanting to help, wanting to care, wanting to. Even mothers very, very rarely are able to love their child unconditionally, sincerely, and genuinely. That's how hard it is. Your own child, there's a reason behind loving it. Loving, well, I can't say it, he or she. And see the logic behind it? That's why we call it the supreme emotion. Not easy to develop. So the first spark that you ever get, maybe your loved one, maybe your child, maybe your puppy, maybe some animal that you saw on the road, maybe some being that you met up with, maybe can be anything. But when you get that spark, you need to know that's the first start of it. Compassion. Your ability to apply that exact emotion, genuine, sincere, unconditional, and so much joy and happiness there. There's no regret because there's nothing, there's no strings attached to it. There's no regret. It's genuine. You're doing it out of your heart, willingly. Your ability to create such an intense emotion and being able to apply that exact same genuine, sincere, unconditional emotion towards all sentient beings. There you go. That's compassion. So again, compassion. So roughly, the view of emptiness, compassion. Then we have renunciation right at the top. What is renunciation? I want you guys to talk as well. What do you think renunciation is? Any comments? What does renounce mean? I renounce my watch. I renounce you. I renounce this world.
To give up.
Huh?
To give up.
To give up. Well, that's, if I say, oh, you should renounce, you should give up, that doesn't sound right. Does that sound right? You should give up. So renunciation in Tibetan Buddhism, we always say, Duje Koa Chen Pungwa. First thing is Duje. Duje is based on view actually, contaminated view. Now the second, Khorwa, samsara. Yeah? The cyclic wheel of existence. Are you familiar with that? Courses, Come on, everyone who has been to a course is familiar with that. Where the cycling existence with the God and that and this and hell and heaven and everyone has something like that. Now, I'm not claiming to be this whole thing to be so. It's the cycling way. Now, I'm not claiming that this is very accurate and this is how it is. It's totally up to you how you want to view it. But you being the wheel, you being within the wheel of existence that goes around and round and round and round, never ending. Being born, dying, born, dying, born, dying, born, dying. Right? Being born. Now you go into the what we say the 12 dependent arising links or 12 links of dependent arising. Yeah. Over and over again. Birth, aging, sickness, death. Birth again, sickness, aging, and death. Yeah? The cyclic existence, we call it. And not just that, that also being like a chain, all joined together. It's your job to break the chain. That's the teaching, right? You go to anyone and you tell them to explain the cyclic wheel of existence. You're in a chain that goes around and round, and your job is to break the chain, to get out of it.
Yeah. Then you are enlightened, and what happens after enlightenment? We were talking about this. Maybe then you are in total bliss and will never be born in the material world. Is it not boring? Maybe sometimes the samsara has a lot of excitement, and I can imagine. So what's then happening in the emptiness, in the nirvana? Why we should become enlightened? Many of us laughter in a way. There is not so much suffering as Buddhists may be always talking about. In the samsara, there's also much happiness and good life. So why we should leave this samsara in a way?
So yeah, we'll come to that. We'll come to that. So now the second idea is you need to get off that. Right? Now comes the Four Noble Truths. You heard about the Four Noble Truths? The truth of, what is the first one? Suffering. The truth of suffering. No one can deny they are not suffering. Everyone has suffered in their life. Maybe not right now. I'm comfortable. I have a very comfortable seat, and I'm sitting here. And maybe not when I'm at the movies, where I'm enjoying it. Maybe not when I'm, going on a vacation in the Bahamas. I don't know. Maybe not there, but there's a lot of suffering. Our body is very, very, very fragile. One thing. One needle can kill you. That's how fragile our body is. Yeah, one prick with the wrong needle and you are gone. That's it. We might, bigger than animals, stronger than insects, or so on and so forth. But no matter how strong you claim yourself to be, very fragile. Life changes like this. Today you're walking happily, half with friends. Tomorrow you get something, you go to the hospital, you have cancer. It changes in an instant. Your view of what is gone. Now you are faced with what? Death. And how ready are you? Are you ready for death? I don't know. But what if you are facing it in front of? What if a doctor comes in front of you and says, you have 10 days left? What then? Okay, I'll accept it. I die, so what? Is that going to be your reaction? Do you want that to be your reaction? Sorry, that was the wrong phrasing. I didn't want to say, I want to say, do you want that to be your reaction? Or do you want to be remembered? Maybe by your loved ones. So you spend the next 10 days trying to please them. Yeah, spend the next 10 days with your kid, with your family. I'm never going to see them again. I know this is a little bit disturbing. We're talking about death, but again, cycling existence, you have to talk about death. You have no choice. Right? How comfortable would your life be if you died in this? Now that's a question. Now, I might be comfortable, I'm fine, okay, But is that good enough? Or do you want your kid to be comfortable? Your loved ones to be comfortable? Do you want your kid to be happy? Your loved ones to be happy? And some people are happy, they're satisfied with life, but they're still running. They're doing a 9 to 5 job, 10 to 11 job. I don't know what job, but anyway, they're doing all of this. Why? If they're very comfortable with their life, why are they doing that? In order to give a comfortable life towards their loved ones. So it's not just you that want to be comfortable, you want others to be comfortable as well. Well, for the time being, others that you care for. Make sense? So now perspective is changing. And your perspective of life is changing. Now what if I told you death is certain, its time is uncertain, you could die today, you could die tomorrow. And within that limited time, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? If you have no one to care about, if you are afraid, no, I don't care about anyone or anything in the world, that person is a very happy person. And he lives his life on. And when he dies, he dies. That's it, end of the day. But how many people are in that situation? How many people, is there anyone in this room who doesn't care about anyone? So perspectives change things. You see? Yeah? One step at a time. You start asking questions, things change. So now, that's one reason why it's important. Make sense? Does it make sense? Good. Now, why enlightenment? That's a really good question. Why enlightenment? What are you going to do after enlightenment? What? You achieve everlasting full bliss, happiness. I don't know. Yeah. What are you going to do after that? Yeah, my life would be boring. I mean, if I was someone in the drawing over here, I would be boring. And sitting like this all day in lotus position in life. I want to experience life. I want to experience joy. I want to experience thrills. That looks boring. I'm just kidding. But that's a good question. What after enlightenment? But in order to understand what after enlightenment, you need to understand why enlightenment. Yeah? If you knew the map of Nepal, every single shortcut, nook, corner, everything about Nepal, imagine how easy it would be for you. You wouldn't have to go here and ask there and do that and do this, and you would know all the shortcuts, and life would be much more simpler, right? Now, imagine you bringing 10 people. It'll be easier. You don't have to go and search for car and say that and say this and look for that deal, this deal, bargain. No, you don't have to do that, right? Because you know every nook and corner. You know where the cheapest things are, you know where the best things are, you know where to get the car, you know all the phone numbers. You don't have to worry about anything. And that makes it easy for the 10 people you're bringing yourself, right? So, does that make sense? You know where I'm going from here? Yeah? So enlightenment is similar to that. Once you know the way to liberation, you're not just liberating yourself, you're developing the capability to liberate others with you. Now here I'm just talking about, people who you love and people who you care about and that and this. But now comes compassion for all mother sentient beings. If you're able to develop that kind of supreme emotion, then you are bringing everyone on the bus with you. Make sense? Why enlightenment? To a point, yes. It takes. We can discuss more on it if you have more questions. We'll discuss more on it. But a sort of rough understanding of it. As long as it starts to make sense, you're on the way to, on the right way. What time was it?
11:30.
11:30? Is it till 11:30?
So it's 12:30.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to take a washroom, there's one here. This one. So just announce a little bit.
Yeah,
so
sure.
We have 15, 16 people. It's going to take a while for them to make food. If you are eating something here, or if you have already something in your mind from the menu, I'll pass it around and you can just write it down. So the most popular here is the vegetable thali. Yeah, and we have a 10% discount on all the items.
Yes.
Could you repeat the Tibetan expression for renunciation? Duche Kora.
Duje Kwache Bumbo.
Could you explain the
So Duje, like I said, Duje has different meanings. Duje has, I think, based on different philosophical views, it's explained in different ways. But the more sensible thing I would say, Duje is something that is dematerializable. Duje. Korwa, samsara. That's where we were talking about all the realm and this, that. Now, what is korwa? That's the third answer, right? Question. I mean, not answer, question. What is korwa? Now, coming down to korwa, a lot of people explain it, like I said, explain it in this manner. But at the end of the day, it's the vessel. Yeah? Your karmic imprint that makes you revisit a vessel over and over again, and that vessel being the main reason behind why you are being born, why you are becoming sick, yeah? Why you are becoming old, why it's degrading, decaying, whatever you want to call it, and why you are dying. And so Humbo is the vessel. So you're on the mission to be liberated in this vessel where you have to continue that over and over again. Make sense? Now talking about a vessel, I think that would my important object.
the object of attachment?
my object of attachment. Not important to you, important. So yeah, where was I? That's how important. I totally forgot where I was. So yeah, talking about vessels, I think we can also talk a little bit about mind. Yeah? And with mind comes the understanding of past and future lives. Now, in order to understand that, we need to understand what impermanence is. Yeah, permanent, impermanent. what is impermanent, what is permanent. When you have the view of impermanence, what changes? What changes in the outlook that you have towards things? Like I said, when you understand impermanence of life, what do? You make your life more things. You start, doing something that you can achieve, something that, oh yeah. When you think, oh, I'll live until 100, I have, so on and so many years. You're doing things more relaxedly, more slow. You're taking less time, and that's what people. You see a lot of those in the movies. When they're near death, when they find out they're going to die, they're trying to spend as much time as they can with their family. Yeah? So impermanence and impermanence. Now, impermanence at the beginning, yeah, knocks something here, and that knocks something here, and it continues. Yeah, so there's an existence, line of existence that happens. That's why when you're talking about impermanence, you're talking, theoretically, philosophically, when you talk about impermanence, you are talking about, what was it? Kejik. Kejik means being, coming into existence, and jik is, disappearing from existence, meaning there is two process. It happens like that. Yeah. So I'm dropping the pen, me opening my hands like this, there are conditions for the pen to drop. And when the pen hits the ground, that's when it stops dropping. And now the effect of it being stopped, the drop being stopped is based on the ground. So there's the continuum there. Yeah, it's like a candle. Burn the light. There's a beginning to that. Now, if you ask questions, there's always a beginning to, as long, like I said, as long as it's impermanent, there's something you can trace back towards. Yeah, same thing with the body. Yeah. Now, if you're a scientist, maybe you might see that because of cause and condition, we can detect and tell things about millions of years ago. Pretty amazing, right? Yeah. Oh, millions ago, years ago, there were dinosaurs roaming the world. We don't know that. We never saw that. But because we are detecting, we are following back in cause and condition, we can tell that. Yeah, these are things that we can say, we can tell, we can express. Now we are coming up with proofs that we can show people as well. Now, cause and condition extended throughout lifetime, karma. That's it. If you talk about karma, you say, what is karma? That's karma. Your ability to observe cause and condition in a very short time is your ability to observe cause and effect. Your ability to stretch out those cause and effect throughout lifetimes, that's karma. Yeah? Very hard to exactly determine how and why and that and this, but if you are able to stretch it out, now comes the question, but how? What are some people so easily, where for some people it takes so long? Why some people can tell, things that they've never seen in their, small kids can tell things about things that they have never seen in their life. Express what do we say? Express experiences that they've never had in their life. Why for some people it's easier to do things, whereas for some people it's harder. Why some people minds are so messed up, no matter how hard they try, why are they messed up? Why are some people so peaceful from the day they were born? You have those questions? From the day they were born. You have those questions? And if you have siblings, you know that everyone is different. Right? Same house, same father, same mother, same condition, raised up in the same condition, but totally different. One is angry and always complaining, another one is peaceful and always calm. And why? What is the new? Now it comes down to the neural links, right? We talk about neural links. And neural links, habituation is what neural links is. You create a link within your brain that, mind and brain is two different things again. But anyway, I explained it in that way. I think it makes, for beginner, for the starting point, it makes some sense. So, these questions pop up. Why do some people like to dress up in certain ways, where some people like to dress up in other ways? Why some people, claim to be something other than they seem to be? There are so many different questions now. Those are all questions that you can answer through that karmic extension, that causal condition that has been extended throughout lifetimes. These can answer it, but whether it's the right answer or wrong answer, something I leave up to you to investigate. Yeah? Make sense? To a point, maybe?
It does make sense, but it's sometimes very hard to accept because one of the Buddhist teacher I had said something like, I've been everyone. I think everybody can be.
Because of the
Okay.
because of the
Okay.
record.
Oh yeah.
You are.
I'm trying needing so much attention here, but
Go ahead.
I think this karmic thing is sometimes very hard to take because one of my Buddhist teachers said, I've been everyone, I've done everything.
What?
I've been everyone, I've done everything. I had so many existence in kind of in a way that we all have this bias. A pedophile who is a killer, who is a rapist, who is some horrible person. And by, kind of understanding this long karmic wheel means to have been everyone in my life. I could be a pedophile, I could be a killer, I could be everyone. Like my teacher said, I've been everyone, I've done everything. That's why I could kill millions of people. I could have done horrible things, and we've all done. I mean, this is very difficult to take. If something happens in your life, you're like, oh, I deserve it in a way because I must have been a horrible person back there. Oh, I deserve it in a way because I must have been a horrible person back there. Good, I think it's just hard to take. You could say something about it.
I know, right? Sorry.
No, makes sense. Karmic existence being the causal condition that has been stretched out to lifetimes is a mystery. It's a mystery. Now, when someone says, I have lived every life, I have experienced everything, whether you want to believe that person, not totally up to you. I have nothing against it if you want to believe in that person. But from my perspective, I would think not really. Now, there's reasons I'm saying that. Okay? One part of karmic existence and past and future lives, we do talk about Buddhism. There is no beginning, beginningless. Have the word? Maybe if you are. Now that we are stuck on. I've debated for quite a bit of my life, around 18 to 19 years. And beginningless has always been something that I have been intrigued to find out. But it's very hard to find out beginningless, right? When there's no beginning, how are you going to find it out? You just need to keep on pushing further and further and further and further. Beginningless doesn't mean endless. Yeah, the possibilities are endless. We say that's endless. Yeah, the possibilities are endless. We say that comes right. Yeah, because beginningless, therefore possibilities are endless. Therefore, maybe I was this, maybe. But there is no such thing as yes, I was this confirmation. It's hard to come from. So therefore, I say this is the reason I say it's a mystery, and therefore, it's one thing. But still, even if he come from doubt, still have my own doubts. Like I said, unless I can make sense out of it towards in up here, it's not really something that I would focus on. So endless, right? Beginning and endless. So just because it's beginningless, therefore people say the possibilities are endless. And that's to a point that can be true, but to a point that is also something that can be initialized. You're because you're born in this world, and because you have a mind, your mindset is endless. I can say that too, right? You have this mind to be a murderer in this life. You could choose to be a defiler in this life. Murderer in this life. You could choose to be a defiler in this life. Just because your possibility of mindset is endless doesn't mean you're. If someone told me to say something like, "Oh, thank you," if someone told me to say the word, really mean that that I've gone through everything. Yeah, like I said, because you have the power of that doesn't mean we are going to do that. No. Yeah, we are human beings with hearts. I mean, heart. I don't mean the physical pumping heart. We use that expression, right? Oh, I felt it here. So someone with that kind of feeling, and we choose things. Maybe sometimes stupidly, stupidity gives us the path to choose something wrong. But most of the time, we are choosing wisely, and we are struggling in our life to make the right decision. Why would we make the wrong decision? Now, even the ones who do make the wrong decision, they let what we saw them take over. Yeah? The better of them take over. Yeah? If they really knew reality, if they could really feel the suffering of others, do you think they would do something like that? You could have done something horrible and regret it for the rest of your life. But why weren't you thinking about it while you were doing it? Because I had no idea of it. Or because I did something, like I said, when your mind is up here, when your mind is down there, you do crazy stuff. Right? It's when you are in the middle that things start to make sense to you. And that's when regret hits you. I've met people who punish themselves their whole life because of something they did. I've even met someone who practiced a certain kind of religion where they slash themselves with a knife in order to get rid of their sin. And that person has, whole body because he did something wrong in the past. And he's, what do you say? What is the word? Punishing, yeah, he's punishing it. He's been punishing himself for 32 years. You see the point I'm trying to make, right? So not to disrespect your teacher or anything, but I would think otherwise. When I would yeah, so that's that. Yes.
So what is the fastest way to stabilize the mind? Of course, you can make analytic meditation or also making this visualization, meditation from the life from Buddha or so. But what is the quickest, the fastest way to stabilize it and to get enlightened? What is the highway?
Now you want to get enlightened.
VIP pass.
So when we talk about the mind, we are talking about it being up here. Yeah? Pride, fame, money, power up here. And your mind being somewhere down there. No self-esteem. No, letting go of yourself. Fear of everything. So there's 2 points, right? I think she speaks Tibetan. You speak Tibetan, right?
No.
No? No? Oh, okay. So anyway, I was going to ask some my terminology sucks, so sorry for that. I'm trying. So there are 2 parts of the mind where one is, going over the head, one is going way, way below, right? Now the middle part, Umelam. Yeah? Middle part is a very interesting perspective also. You can study it. So we talk about the middle path, not the extreme and not the, what is the other word? Other extreme. Right in the middle, your capability to stabilize. When does that happen? Easiest way that happens when you're moving. Right? You're on your phone, it's not up here, it's not down there, you're just focusing. When you're watching a movie, reality is not there, your full focus is somewhere else. Maybe when for some people it's listening to music, my mind goes like this when I'm listening to music. Yeah? For some, maybe because they don't know how to do this or that, then they go and drink, completely drunk. Yeah? Your mind is not functioning anymore, it's right in the middle. It's peace, you got it, right? Peace, unawareness, ignorance. Or maybe going for a good massage in the Bahamas, next to the beach, relax in the sun, oil in your, on your body, someone massaging. Oh, it's so good. These are things that people do in order to reach that relaxed calmness. For some people, it's meditation. Yeah, every morning they sit down and they focus on a light, on their breath, tons of different things. For some people, it's about initiating, discipline. When something like this comes up, I shouldn't, no, don't do it, no, press it down. Yeah? So a lot of different methods that work for different people. Best way, I would say, not conforming it, but something that I would say the best way is logically. Like I said at the beginning, the minute you are able to make sense of things, the easier it becomes. Yeah? You find a valid reason behind it, the easier it becomes. If you're doing some kind of vigorous exercise, what is the first thing you need? Motivation. Yeah? If you don't have the motivation and you go into something like this, you're doing it for 2 days or 3 days and you're giving up. So I can't handle it, I can't do this, I have to wake up early in the morning, I don't get to eat ice cream. You give a ton of different reasons to why you cannot do it and you give it up. So the first thing is motivation, motivated to do something. Now the second reason behind is the vigilance. Vigilance? Vigilance? Is that a word? Putting yourself in the effort. Yeah? And that too, by logically making sense. When the reasons are there behind doing something and it pushes you, what happens is it becomes easier for you and you tend to continue doing things. I must do this. A lot of people use this. I need to prove. That's the whole, the vigorousness that comes up. I need to prove it. She told me I was wrong. I need to prove that she's wrong. Pride within yourself. People use that in order to get things done. Not the right way, not the right concept behind why you should do it, but still people are able to achieve something with that kind of mindset. Now coming down, I would give the basis of logic. If you are able to understand the map, able to understand what the benefits are, able to understand what's the opposite of benefits? Disadvantages. And once you are able to understand the advantages and disadvantages of doing it and disadvantages of not doing it, then you see, your aspiration going up. And that aspiration, as long as you're keeping that advantage and disadvantage views and thoughts in your mind, you're able to push yourself in that direction. Now, when you're thinking about a situation, I always try to think forward. If you are in a fight, if someone punches you, you let pride get you, you let the best of you get you, you let shame get you. I don't want to be ashamed in front of all of these people. I need to prove myself. You punch him back. Next thing happens, he gets the same feeling and he punches you again. Or he punched me twice. I have to do something worse than punching, so I kick him. Right? I punch it and I kick him. Now he gets something similar. Oh, he punched me and he kicked me. I need to stab him. You see where it's going? Starts with a stab on the arm, stab on the leg. And the third thing is, oh, I need to stab his heart. I need to kill him. Stab on the neck. See where it's leading? It's chaos. So your ability to what is it? We're human beings, right? I always say, as human beings, we are superior than animals. In what way? In our capacity to see things forward. Yeah, animal at the best. Maybe if it's a bear, he wants to hibernate in the winter, 1 year ahead. Yeah, I need, it's spring, all the fish is coming. I need to gorge myself to become, able to survive the winter. That's 1 year ahead. As human beings, we are planning, 80 years ahead, 90 years ahead, 100 years ahead. When I'm 100 and I have this and that, and even further, when I'm dead, even after you're dead, you're still planning. Yeah? When I'm dead, I have my, this one go to this daughter, this one go to that grandson. You're already planning. Our capacity to see things further. That's what keeps us in the light. Then as a religious person who believes in past and future lives, you're even more, you're capable to think even further than that. Not just this life, next life, and the next life. And enlightenment, so whether you believe it or not, but yeah. So because we have that capability, we should use it in order to judge things, in order to see things forward. Changes a lot of things. If you are able to calculate the outcome, and if you are able to calculate the disadvantages and the advantages of outcome, you are capable of choosing the right thing to do. Make sense? So calmness, that's what calmness does to you. It puts you in a state where your emotions are not all riled up and calm. You don't start thinking. You put you in a situation where you're thinking out of anger, out of hatred, out of that, out of gross emotions, and putting you in a situation where you never intended or didn't want to be in. Now questioner is gone.
I have a question.
I have a very tricky question for you.
I like tricky questions.
Because you started a topic that triggered me with the fighting. Because a few times in my life I got attacked, but especially once I got attacked in a way that influenced many years of my life. Because since that moment I started to feel fear. and somebody who had me was trying to rape me or maybe kill me, and I couldn't breathe. And I don't think it's like a moment there you feel calm or you analyze, as you say, the advantages and disadvantages. Like the only thing I could think about is just that I want to be alive. So it was more like acting out of animal instinct, like attacking the guy and jumping on him and breaking his nose with my shoe and seeing blood everywhere. It didn't disgust me or anything. I just wanted to get out from the situation. And I wonder what is the perspective from the Buddhist angle, because I cannot imagine myself like standing in front of me and kill me and be free from suffering. This is my karma. Like I'm not going to defend myself. Also, I cannot think of acting without anger or be like completely calm and thinking, deducting, and because we all, maybe it's like extreme example, but I think we are all in situations where we have to defend ourselves or fight for our life. Then what is the Buddhist take on it?
Gross emotions are gross to the point where it's all about using your ability to use emotions, right? Anger is bad. That's the secret of it, right? He's always once said, be a bodhicitta, but not a stupid one. Be a smart bodhicitta. What does that mean? And like you said, instinct. Fear. Why is there fear? If it wasn't for the instinctive survival thing, fear wouldn't be there. We always say, as a human, if you're sleeping in a comfortable place, in a hotel, your own house with protection and everything, security and everything, you can sleep soundly. Having a very good sleep. You're having a very sound, good sleep. Now, as a deer in the forest, where there are cheetahs and jaguars and tigers and lions, everyone wanting to eat you, you sleep with your ears up like this. You can hardly sleep. Something's wrong here. I don't know what it is. I'm just kidding. So the difference here is like you said, survival. It's important that these emotions are there. Anger doesn't equally mean that you need to act rationally and fight and jump and kill and punch and all. No, anger, right? Just because you have anger doesn't mean you have to do that. Just because you have fear doesn't mean you have to run and hide into a small corner and no. Yeah, fear, you use it like I said. If you're bodhicitta, you use anger in order to develop bodhicitta. I know. What? Bodhicitta and anger, how does that work? I'll give you an example. If you had a child who didn't listen to giving candies and be kind, you sometimes scold them. Out of compassion, out of love. You don't want that person to, like let's say for example, there's some place that he shouldn't go to. It can be dangerous. And you say, okay, please don't go there. You beg him, you prostrate to him, you do all the whatever the compassion thing. But then comes a time where when that doesn't work, you have to show a little bit of aggressiveness, right? That doesn't mean like being like not uncontrollable, crazy anger. No, it's anger, but out of compassion. Yeah. So like I said, it's only these words. If you want to be a bodhicitta, you be a smart one, not a stupid one. So similarly, you use anger and you need to use it in a way that makes sense, that actually helps you. So it doesn't mean you shouldn't be angry, it just means your mind needs to be calm and you need to be working with anger to bring results. Some people need, well, if you look at the olden, nowadays it's not allowed, but if you look in the olden times, children needed to be, little bit, what do we say, shaped up in order to get them to walk on the right track. That happens. And now we call it child abuse, and that in certain ways, yes, it is also. But it worked in those days. Make sense? So applying anger, applying fear is not a bad thing. Fear can get you very far. Fear of losing gets you to become a winner. But use those fears for the better of yourself and others. Yeah, that's the important part. Yeah, for the better of yourself and others. That's what compassion is. Make sense a little bit? So it's not that you should avoid all gross emotions, and it's just that you need to understand the results and be able to calculate. Yeah, you don't go to the extremes. If you have to fight for life, you fight for life. But don't go to the extreme where you fight for your life, you come as victorious, and then you take revenge. That's a whole different thing again. Make sense? Revenge is a big thing, like I said. Some people hold grudges inside here for a very long time. And that grudge first grows from one thing and it keeps on growing. That's how hate spreads, right? Yeah, a certain ethnicity person punches you, and then at the end of the day, if you're holding that grudge for a very long time, you start hating the whole group. Oh, the Nepalese are bad. Oh, that is bad. Oh, the Sherpas are bad. Oh, Indians are bad. Oh, that is bad. Where does that come from? The grudges that grow. So that's extreme, right? For survival, you do what's necessary for survival. We are humans. We have that instinct. I mean, Mike is telling us to take a so it's now take a short break. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope I'm not boring you out or anything. And we can have more later on. We can have more conversational, maybe one-to-one talk. Try to make sense of things that maybe still hasn't clicked. I'll try my best. I'm not claiming to be able to do all of that, but that's it. And yeah,
Take a break,
nice
Rinpoche.
lunch. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. So we'll have a 1 hour, 30 minutes break. So we'll be back here at 1:45. So we have plenty of time to discuss what Rinpoche just talked this morning. And at the end of the day, from 3 to 4, we have an informal interaction with Rinpoche. We can just sit here or wherever. So we will have that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.